that got me real worried about. Yeah, heard Donald Trump saying two genders, M and F. No, no LGBTQ transgender whatsoever. Like if let's suppose I could make me worried myself. I got F on my birth certificate. That female marked on my birth certificate and on my passport. The worst problem I may walk up someday. I can see myself approaching a border, and the border guard can ask me. I saw a passport that said F. Can I see your birth certificate? Oh yeah, F. Yeah, I don't know. He looked like a man, so we're gonna have to run jammy. Do you have a? Hmm. But, well, I'll take a side room. I pull a pant down to see vagina, and I said, "Holy shit!" Well, see what I'm talking about? That's what I'm worried about. Them literally checking for vagina. See, at the border, which I have, and I'm not happy about in any way. So that really worries me. Too, because it's would they check a biological woman for a penis? No. Would it? No. Would it check somebody who has would it go and sex a transgender female has a vagina? No, they shouldn't. I mean, just because the person has a vagina, had a surgery done, I should not. That mean that's where it got me worried too. Plus, another thing I think about too, if I cross the border going into the USA and the worst part is I'm afraid that one border guard want to make a name for himself at Niagara Falls. Typical. He always did that, and I'm getting tired. This is ridiculous. Well, I'm afraid he's gonna pull me over to the side, same border guard, question me. I'm gonna show my passport and show my birth certificate. He's gonna pull me in the side room, sit me down, start talking to me. Next thing I know, end up in ICE detention center for no apparent reason for immigration judge. Put in a bunch of men, a bunch of women, and then eventually, or else I'd be saying to him, look, I'm a female, not a man, that wrong name, on a warrant, blah, blah, blah. So he can look at this again, and I can look at it, whoa, what this guy doing? That's not right. They're gonna realize what happened too, and they're gonna probably straighten it out at that point. Yeah, that's another thing I'm certainly worrying about right now. I shouldn't be worrying about this because one, I'm not planning it, but if I ever do plan it in the future, I'm certainly not going to be put up with that kind of crap going on right now. So I'm wondering if what that means is somebody who has F on the birth certificate, but right now somebody got an X, no gender in there, they're going to be denied access to U.S. and somebody in Canada going to get a fight over Europe going to be denied access as well. So that's going to cause a lot of problems. And the worst part is, for me having a female on my birth certificate, I can show that to any law enforcement official and not said yes, you identified a female, the name identified a female. See? Well, that's what it would say right there. And that one thing I do know to a fact, yes. Well, I know Buffalo have very strong LGBTQ movement in Buffalo. So that's pretty good too with the LGBTQ movement. That's great. They have it too. But where would it be? It'd be underground, good and underground. Like they're gonna drive us people underground. That's all Mr. Trump is doing. I'm worried about it. Not knowing what the other side is saying about it is one thing. Not knowing too much of what is happening because our news people like to filter a lot of stuff. They filter a lot of news in the U.S. out, and they're not just and stuff that come from it. But honestly, they would not even bother. Anyway, so I don't know, how this gonna play out. It sure got me worried a bit, got me not worried now. But I do have F on my birth certificate. It go by the marker on your birth certificate. So one, I have F on my birth certificate. That should not affect me. I could be asked, could be questioned about my gender at the border, but I can probably prove it with my passport and with my photo ID and insurance card, social SIM card. Probably could prove it, all that easy enough. But also too is that they could say it. Well, then they could have. There, I could be accessed to the United States, but it can. Well, why would it work out if I go to? Example, I go to gonna take a cruise trip out of Miami, Margaritaville, no, Paradise, to down out to somewhere. Take it over to visit, Bahamas, and going over to visit Freeport and coming back the following, coming for a day, 2 day, coming back on day three back from Freeport. How that can affect there. And I mean, I know I could probably I know I use a bathroom in the stateroom. I can know that. But if I'm out on board a ship and trying to use public bathrooms, it's going to be difficult in a way, because even with my gender marker, I could get in a cruise line could no, or cruise line could say, hey, use the men's room, don't use the ladies' room. That could be violation right there. Now, but I would not. Well, in that case, I would just avoid using public or try to find a handicap one to use that is single stall. Then I have to. Well, the only drawback is I have to if I go to the U.S. I will have to make a safe bathroom list again, unfortunately. So if that's the case, that's what I may have to do here. I'm not too pleased about it, and hopefully that the United States come to common sense here that they better smarten up. Tariffs another thing. I'm gonna, if that tariff going back, I'll be paying for my nose, so it'll be grocery I need, and I won't be able to afford it. I'll be the tariff gonna fucking throw me. I have to may not able to buy a bus pass. Gotta use money that bus pass to buy groceries. So all because of the Donald Trump tariffs. Anyways, I'm not too pleased about that either. Anyway, so I'm even worrying about that right now. Like, oh. Well, anyways, enough said about that. But another thing too, with Donald Trump, if Canada turns around and surrender, I mean, all these high tariffs gonna drive home, and it will force Canada into position where it's Donald Trump. Where do we sign? And the Prime Minister elect gonna say, whoever Prime Minister at that time, Mr. Trump, where are we going to sign? Where do you want to sign the dotted line? We're going to sign right now. Hand over United States. Boom, boom, boom. Sign here, here, here. Donald Trump said to sign here, 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 to sign here, here. And then next thing you know it becomes the Prime Minister, the province premiers we call governors, you know, and know who Prime Minister Trudeau will become the head governor of all the states in that area. And of course, we become part of New York State here, unfortunately, but that takes me, that's a whole different ball game. What about my old age? How can I affect that too? I'm gonna have the same amount, I'm gonna not have the same. Well, that's a good question, because I heard old age in states is very lousy. They don't have a health care. Oh yeah, but all that. There's all these kinds of things I fear about this happening. The only good thing about this would be that I don't have to worry about, crossing a border ever again. That's the only good thing. The bad thing is what it's just worrying. All that another thing that really worries me a lot now too. Hmm. And the worst part, I could be sitting there I'd be saying, well, you're Canadian. Well, they could say this too. They could say this one, the worst case scenario of me, at that point, I don't want to say this. I don't want to do it, that point, but I may. But at that point, I may decide to immigrate out of the country at that point. Nowhere. At that point, I might immigrate from what was Canada, now United States, out of there and immigrate to somewhere where I can live my life, not be worrying my ass off about shit like that. And the two countries I would probably might one or two I may immigrate to: Japan, Sweden, Netherlands, England. These are possible three countries I would probably integrate to. One couple EU countries or England, and another country that transgender is really widely accepted, of course. They're doing so. That would be like, me. But to immigrate there, another thing, and to fit and to get proper and getting health care and all that, taking for immigrate England just because of Donald Trump taking over Canada. But that's something I may think about in the future. I haven't really decided that yet, because I'm sick and tired of hearing all these things here, and it really bothers me. Now, being a senior, that bothers me because you know, but there is something in saving grace. I don't think Doug Ford knows it, but I don't think Donald Trump thinks that. There's a Treaty of Grant. You know what a Treaty of Grant is? It was signed by King of England and Sir McNabb at Dundurn Castle in Hamilton. It's a historical treaty that said two things. Number one, that America cannot invade or take over Canada any way, shape, or form. The part of it. The second part of the treaty says that if a powering country like powering industry, that the power like United States cannot come in and want to take Canada and surrender it, and two, that no political party in Canada can surrender to United or render Canada or United States. So these three things in that Treaty of Grant, right? They're the only thing that's saved. Well, what good did that do? See, if he did that, he just violated. He broke and know the punishment for this Treaty of Grant is? You want to know? There's the punishment. Then the punishment going to be this: number one, that the person who posed this could be sentenced to many things. Could be exiled far, far away. Could be executed, exiled. Anybody Donald Trump could face execution, or could be forced to go, forced to leave the White House at that point. Anyway, so this is what I'm thinking about. I'm worried, damn worried myself. But Treaty of Grant is the only thing that would save Canada being United States. Is that one treaty, Treaty of Grant. Maybe it was signed between Sir Allan McNabb and the King of England and the Prime Minister of Canada in 1812. So think about that one.